Did you know that HubSpot found that LinkedIn is 277% more effective for client acquisition than Facebook and Twitter? That's pretty powerful. So if you are interested in gaining new clients, I really want to recommend that you add LinkedIn to your toolbox. So this video is all about how to leverage LinkedIn for client acquisition for writers. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor, and LinkedIn is definitely one of the most important tools that you can add to your client acquisition toolbox. So let's dig in so I can give you step by step how you can use it to earn really fantastic clients. First, keep in mind, LinkedIn is not like any other social platform because people are there largely to network for work opportunities. So they're primed, they're ready to go. When you are doing client acquisition on things like Facebook or Instagram, it usually involves somewhat of a pattern interrupt where, you're interrupting their scrolls, jumping into their DMs when they're largely looking at like friends or family, pictures of cute cats and things like that to kind of start a conversation about work. LinkedIn is not that way, right? So you're already talking to somebody who's kind of primed for a work conversation. And that could be hugely beneficial because they're already open and receptive to the kind of conversation that you are probably interested in having with them. So I want to talk with you about some of the best ways you can actually leverage LinkedIn. So the first thing I'm going to recommend, and if you've watched any of my videos, it's to pick a niche. And I'm a big believer in picking a niche, but I'm not a big believer in picking the most profitable niche. I'm a big believer in picking a niche that is really meaningful to you. Because if you can find products or services in that particular field or industry, you can make it a profitable niche. And then you make it a niche that brings a lot of meaning into your life because you're excited to write about it. When you pick a niche on LinkedIn, it's going to make it so much easier for when you start engaging with people for them to look at your profile and say, oh, this person does exactly what I need. Or when people use the search function so that they can come across your profile. That's another way that they might find you. So the next piece of advice I have for you is to clearly state what you do and who you serve in your profile. Do not waste your time making your LinkedIn profile look like a resume. That is not going to be nearly as effective as using your skills as a copywriter to be persuasive, to focus on the value that you deliver, and of course, to hit on pain points, to hit on desires, and to really communicate to a prospective client that you are super qualified to help them solve their problems. So be really clear and concise in your headline, in your banner, in your description, and use words that call out exactly who you serve. Maybe it says something like copywriter for financial advisors. That's going to show somebody that you are exactly the person they need. And again, using relevant keywords means they might find you in an organic search, which is a huge bonus. So once you've got your niche picked out and you've got your profile set up, and also go ahead and feel free to check out my profile. I haven't updated it in many, many years, but it's a good example of how to really communicate with the prospective clients you want to serve. You can find me on there, Sarah Turner, copywriter, and go ahead and look at how I position myself. It is not a resume. You'll probably notice that I'm not showing up as an employee. I'm showing up as a business owner who has a valuable service that will help my clients. And I know what I have to offer works and is effective. So that really comes across in how I kind of touch on who I serve and how I help them. Once you've got all of this set up, the next step is to start connecting with people in your industry. And keep in mind, it can be people who are peripheral to your industry. It's really good to start making connections, but be careful not to go overboard because if you get flagged by LinkedIn for spamming people, they will lock you out of your account. So go easy and play the long game. Add a few people here and there each day, and before you know it, you will be in the hundreds or thousands of connections. And this is really beneficial because when you start putting out any information, those people will see what you're posting. Maybe they'll share it, they'll comment on it, and then of course their friends and connections can see it and comment on it, and it kind of spreads your reach. And my next tip for you is that as you're making connections, as I said before, be sure to kind of look at peripheral keywords and other occupations that are kind of adjacent to who your ideal client is. So let's use that financial advisor example. What I want you to do is to also think about other people who are similar or even using different keywords but do the same thing. This might be a wealth coach or a financial advisor for young professionals. It could be somebody who's specifically working in crypto. I mean, Really, truly expand who it is you're targeting so you can kind of make a more diverse network. And you want to keep building connections until you get past the 500 mark, because that's going to give you that label that you have over 500 connections. It's going to add a little bit of credibility to your profile. And of course, people are going to look at you and think, okay, this person's been around a while, they are connected, and it's just going to make you more trustworthy. But again, remember these things take time and you definitely don't want to spam anyone. So my next piece of advice for you is to actually interact with those connections. Comment on their posts, like them, reshare them. Make sure that you're doing this in an authentic way, right? You can do this in kind of like a really self-serving, sleazy way, or you can do it in a genuinely helpful way. If they write something that resonates with you, comment on it, share it, and that really goes a long way because there aren't a ton of interactions generally happening on LinkedIn, so you can build a name for yourself pretty quickly just by being helpful and showing up. And then you start to build name recognition. And then people will start to notice you. They'll click on your profile, see what you do, maybe even send you a DM. I love this method so much more than just like hammering out DMs because it's more organic, it draws attention to you, and it kind of creates a name for yourself in your industry. And that can happen pretty quickly. Most of the people who go through my program are surprised to find that they can create a name and a reputation for themselves within their niche in under a year. So it can happen. You just have to keep showing up consistently. Showing up consistently is key. But that doesn't mean you spend hours and hours and hours on LinkedIn. Just set aside 20, 30 minutes to check it each day, or even better, set aside an hour once a week to really dig in. Finally, I do want you to send some warm DMs. And they don't have to be a pitch. They can be a pitch, a very helpful pitch, but they can also just be something that is about connecting, something that they recently posted or shared, something that you admire about them or appreciate about what they've been saying or doing in their business, in the industry. Just make some connections. You'll be so surprised to find at how far these connections can really take you, especially on LinkedIn. It happens so fast. And before you know it, you're going to have people reaching out to you, interested in your services, asking you what you're doing, asking you if you guys would work well together. And ultimately, it's going to lead to you hopping on the phone and having a discovery call with a new potential client. So yeah, it really is that simple. So much of it is about showing up consistently. So why is LinkedIn so amazing for client acquisition? Let's kind of recap. And actually, I'm going to add one more that I haven't really touched on yet, which is LinkedIn ranks in SEO really well because the website has a high authority. So your profile can climb in SEO rankings, meaning when people search for your services or for who you are in Google, your profile will actually show up, which is pretty awesome. The other benefit is that your name becomes recognizable to people in your industry. And as we mentioned before, this means that you can kind of develop a reputation and an authority in your industry relatively quickly. It's also a super easy way to get on many different people's radar within your industry. And the other thing is you can even take it one step further and start producing content. Maybe you're sharing a blog or a post or just an idea, a thought, or a tip. And then those also get recognized. That's another thing that you can add to your LinkedIn strategy. And this, of course, creates warmer leads, meaning when you reach out to them to either pitch or DM them, just to start a conversation, they're going to be so much more receptive to you than somebody who's just kind of coming in out of the blue. And finally, what you're doing is you're ultimately leaving little breadcrumbs, getting your contact information out there so that people can come to you. In fact, don't forget, this is one last final tip, to put in your banner your contact information. In fact, Canva has some really fantastic LinkedIn banner templates, so go ahead and take advantage of those. LinkedIn is one of my favorite client acquisition tools, so definitely don't overlook it. For just a little bit of time consistently each week, you can really start to build a name for yourself and really start to have some inbound leads coming in. LinkedIn is one of my favorite client acquisition tools because for pretty little time investment, you can start to grow your name, your reputation in your industry, and of course, you can start to warm people up for inbound leads, and you can always reach out and pitch as well. So I hope this helps. Go ahead and leave me some comments if you have any questions. I love answering them. I love also hearing about your ideas for the future. It's where I get a lot of my topics from, so thank you very much. And of course, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys.